Hey, what's up there, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer 55551, and I would like to start off by saying Happy Veterans Day to basically everyone out there who celebrate it, including our fighting men and women overseas, whether you're in the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, whatever it is. I salute you guys. To everyone in our armed services, though, at home or abroad, hopefully you guys are having a happy and safe Veterans Day, to be exact. Whether it's spending time with friends or family, whatever that might be, hopefully you guys are enjoying Veterans Day and all. But anyway, we got 4 stories to cover, including Embracer Group, and well, it does seem to indicate there's more troubles for them, though. A comment that Phil Spencer said that is kind of interesting to a certain degree that he sort of mentioned. Basically, Nintendo has released their financial reports, and questions are starting to ask about, now that Microsoft owns Activision Blizzard, about the possibility of World of Warcraft or Warcraft possibly coming to consoles, particularly, the Xbox Series X and S. If you're interested in where I got the source of these information, I will have links down in the description down below, assuming you're watching this on YouTube. But before we get started, I'd like to do what I like to call the quick My 2 cents. Stories that kind of caught my attention, but I'm not going to go into a huge amount of details. The first one is that an overview trailer have come out for Super Mario RPG. It's now officially in English. I got a chance to watch it, though. Judging from what I'm seeing so far, I am definitely looking forward to getting this game. It definitely brings back memories of the game I remember playing back in 1996 for the Super Nintendo, and also it is one I'm looking forward to. But at the same time, based on what they showed so far, outside of maybe a few changes here and there, it still doesn't look like you're going to see it's a full-on remake or anything like that. It's more like a remaster to a certain degree. But I won't know until I actually get my hands on the game and everything like that. We also learned that the Jurassic Park Classic Collection from Limited Run Games is going to be launching later this month, I believe, for the digital version on the Nintendo eShop. The physical version, obviously, given Limited Run Games history, though, that might take it may take a couple months until we actually get our hands on the physical version. Either way, I ordered the physical version. I'm looking forward to when that one comes out. I'm very curious to see how these games played and everything like that. We also learned about basically a video about looking at 8 canceled games from Retro Studios. Now, some of these I have heard about, including, a football game to the infamous Raven Blade, one that was worked on during the whole, around the time Retro was in sort of a odd position, especially before the release of Metroid Prime or everything like that. It's very interesting for those who are, want to look at the history of Nintendo and, the history of Retro Studios in general. We also learned that Nintendo has reconfirmed several of their upcoming release games for the next year and everything like that. Obviously, there are some for games like the Princess Peach games to Paper Mario: The Thousand Years Doors. I mean, it's possible there might be a couple surprises here and there, but obviously a lot of these is just reconfirming some of the release dates. Outside of Metroid Prime 4, which still has a to be announced, which many are speculating that game's going to be cross-gen, but again, at this time, we don't have any official confirmation at this moment. We also learned that, unfortunately, Ubisoft is laying off about 124 of their employees, though. This sort of situation has not been great for the gaming industry in general. We've seen a lot of employees being laid off from, a lot of their jobs or everything like that. This is very unfortunate. Hopefully a lot of these employees are able to find new jobs and to be able to get back on their feet. My heart goes out to them for them losing their jobs and all. We also learned that the video series Zero Punctuation, that was part of the Escapist, as apparently is ending following that. Apparently there seems to be some issues between the staff and management and everything like that. It is a little bit unfortunate. I remember watching some of those episodes, to be exact, because some of them are kind of funny in terms of how they do them and everything like that. So it is very unfortunate to see this series come to an end. We also learned that Warner Brothers Games is saying that they are now focusing on transforming its biggest franchises into live services, though. This is a very interesting announcement considering the amount of backlash Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League got when that was originally shown off during a PlayStation State of Play that prompted that game to get delayed. I'm not 100% sold on this approach because we've seen a lot of pushback from live services games. While there have been some that have found success, whether it's Warframe to Genshin Impact or Hokan Star Rail, if I'm saying the name correctly, it seems that there's been major pushbacks from a lot of consumers when it comes to basically these live service games and all. And I question WB Games' approach to this, and I do wonder, and many are wondering, if this is sort of setting the stage for them to be, acquired or anything like that. We also learned that basically Nintendo stock has surged, and it certainly has done very well. And I think a lot of this comes off the heels of basically their financial report that they recently came out, though, which is kind of interesting to see this done well because I believe this was like a month or so back. There was a report from the Financial Times that says that Japan should sell Nintendo, and honestly, I'm not buying that argument unless there's a situation where Nintendo is in the red, like bleeding money in financial ruins. I cannot foresee a scenario where Nintendo is going to be sold or anything like that and all. But it seems to be that stock seems to be doing very well for Nintendo and all. We also learned that the Famitsu charts had recently came out for this week, though. Remember, Famitsu does, weekly charts of Steamware games and everything like that. The biggest one has to be that Star Ocean, the second R, which I believe is sort of a remake of the classic PlayStation game, and I think that has done very well in Japan. In fact, in terms of the breakdown, it seems to be for the Nintendo Switch, basically, or I should say in general, it sold about 28,850 units. In terms of the breakdown of which it did well in each system, though, that's 28,850 units on the Nintendo Switch. Apologize, got that wrong, though. 14,367 on the PS5, 7,360 on the PS4. And basically with a grand total of 50,557. In terms of where those games rank, though, Star Ocean, the second R for the Nintendo Switch, is ranked at number 4. For the PS5 version, it's ranked at number 6, and the PS4 version is ranked at number 9. So, I mean, not very bad for a remake or remaster of a classic, PlayStation game, though. I've been trying the demo out of the game. I've been enjoying it, and I'm looking forward to getting, the physical version. I ordered it through PlayAsia, and also very nice to see that game basically doing well. Hopefully, this interests Square Enix to maybe not abandon the Star Ocean series, or maybe take somewhat of a different approach with that series going forward. And finally, we also learned that Microsoft has appointed former boss of the Forza series as the new head of Xbox Game Studios and all. Obviously, this is part of a reshuffling effort we've been seeing from Phil Spencer and Microsoft in general. Hopefully, this will lead to, putting out good games. And hopefully we avoid the kind of situation with what we saw when Redfall originally launched earlier this year. Maybe they've learned their lesson on this one, but time will ultimately tell, though. I mean, so far, Starfield seems to have done very well, especially with the Satara charts that came out to it, though. Forza Motorsport, we've been hearing some mixed back and forth on that one, but seems to be doing okay. Hopefully we'll see how things are next year with games like Evolve, when that will come out. So hopefully this will lead to basically a better approach of putting out, good first-party games and avoid the kind of situation we saw with Redfall and all. And in the movie and TV side part of, or TV show side part of the My Two Cents, apparently 2 trailers were shown this week. The first one is basically Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, basically the sequel to Ghostbusters Afterlife, or as some might dub it, maybe Ghostbusters 3 or something like that. I definitely enjoyed Ghostbusters Afterlife. Definitely looking forward to Frozen Empire. It does look like, from what I understand, it's going to be an original, villain and everything like that. The setting obviously is taking place in New York. Most of the cast from basically Afterlife are still there, so it's going to be very interesting to see how this is all going to play out for this sequel and all. But definitely looking forward to Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. The other one that they showed off this week was a sequel to Inside Out under the name of Inside Out 2. There was a teaser trailer for that one, though. I never saw the first one or anything like that, but I've heard some good things about that one, though. So maybe, I might watch the first one on Disney Plus or something like that. We also learned from the Hollywood Reporter and from the Walt Disney Company that basically that Disney is now going to buy basically the rest of Comcast's share on Hulu, which means they will have full control over Hulu and everything like this. Supposedly both sides came to a deal in terms of how much money they're going to spend, although they're certainly going to be ironing some things out, though. I was a little bit wondering what would happen if basically Disney decided to sell off their share of basically Hulu or something like that, considering one of the things that they promoted was the Disney bundle, which came with Disney Plus, Hulu Plus, and ESPN Plus. So I was kind of curious to see what was going to happen. Obviously, all options were on the table, but they decided to move forward in terms of purchasing all of Hulu, though. It'll be interesting to see what this means in terms of squeezing both content together, having like one app or anything like that, or they're going to maintain, here's the Disney Plus app, here's the Hulu app, and everything like that. So it'll be kind of interesting to see how this is all going to play out and everything. We also learned that apparently a live-action Legend of Zelda movie is in the works, though, and supposedly Wes Ball will be basically directing this movie, though. We now know that basically it will be worked in between Nintendo and Sony Pictures, though. No word of a script or casting at this time, though, so obviously it's too early to tell about this movie. I am a little mixed on this decision to do a live action one, as I would have preferred something more like a CGI or anime or manga style instead of a live action, though. Do I think it could work, though? It's a possibility, though. I will admit it's too early to tell whether this movie will be a success or a failure. Again, we've yet to see a script, let alone a synopsis, or who's been cast at this time. So it's too early to tell. So I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and take a wait and see approach on this one. But I will admit I am a little mixed on this announcement. And last but not least, though, we have now learned that supposedly the actor strike or the SAG strike has now officially, or supposedly it is coming to a close, as it believes that both the studios and the actors had finally came to an agreement, though. Obviously, this one took a little bit longer compared to where the writer's strike ended a little bit earlier or this year and everything like that. But hopefully this is a deal that both sides can come away with. Hopefully the actors are pleased with this, though, in terms of it. So hopefully we'll be able to start seeing a lot of our shows and movies start rolling out, though. We saw some movies like Dune, Dune Part 2 get delayed into basically next year and everything like that. So unfortunately there were casualties or some victims to it. But hopefully now with this strike over, though, things can start slowly getting back to normal, which I'm hoping, though. Okay, and with the quick my 2 cent part and the movie and TV show part now done, we'll get started with our first story, and this one has to do with WoW, or World of Warcraft, and everything like that. Now, obviously, with the whole acquisition of Activision Blizzard being brought up by Microsoft now officially done, I think right now we're sort of in a transition period where basically we're starting to see them start to make adjustments to finally, how the best approach in terms of a lot of the IPs that Activision Blizzard, has and everything like that. We heard reports about Phil Spencer recently coming down to Blizzard down in Irvine and everything like that, and sort of having a discussion and everything like that to Blizzard. Talking about now feel like they'll have more independence and everything like that. And also it's going to be interesting to see how Microsoft handles Blizzard going forward. A lot of them are known for the Overwatch and Hearthstone, but they're famous for games like Warcraft and Diablo, but they've also done other IPs, whether it's like the Lost Vikings to StarCraft and all. But an interesting question was brought up now that basically Microsoft owns basically Activision Blizzard, is the possibility of Warcraft possibly coming to consoles, particularly, the Xbox Series X and S though. And this question was sort of brought up to the head of Blizzard at all. And this was sort of something that was brought up in an interview with Game Radar. This is what supposedly was basically said though. Quote, could World of Warcraft come to consoles? That's been asked many times through the 20-year lifespan of the MMO, and it's rarely been met with a satisfying answer. This author put the question to Holly Longdale at BlizzCon 2023, and the vice president and executive producer of World of Warcraft had this to say when asked about a concept is something Blizzard Entertainment finds interesting. Of course, we talk about it all the time, though. When asked whether it was a technical logistic or complexity that would hold World of Warcraft coming to consoles, Longdale isn't so certain that this is the case. Well, it depends on who you ask. I don't think it is. Frankly, I think we're pretty well positioned, which is kind of why we talk about it. As part of the conversation with Longdale, we touch on the challenges of balancing World of Warcraft's expansions for legacy, lapsed, and new players, something which seems more precise than ever, what with the World Soul saga on the horizon and the questions surrounding an Xbox release becoming louder. It's a complicated question, and to your earlier point, for a console audience, the approach is likely going to be different. Right now, we're focused on World Soul Saga, but if that comes up, then we'll re-examine things. But man, we got enough to deal with right now, laughed Longdale. We got these 3 expansions we are so excited about, but yeah, of course, it would be very insecure to say that we're not. Of course, we're talking about it. She chuckled before adding, we are Microsoft now. So obviously at this point, it's probably too early to tell whether or not it's going to happen or anything like that. Clearly, they had to get the deal done in October. We've heard, how Phil Spencer has mentioned, because it took so long, they couldn't put a lot of the games onto Game Pass as they wanted to, like this year. Obviously, next year might be a bit different, everything like that. Still, I would say it's definitely not out of the realm of possibility that Blizzard could basically bring World of Warcraft or games like StarCraft, for that matter, to basically the Xbox Series X and S or any of the consoles, depending on which console they want to put it on, though. I mean, would there have to be certain things that would have to be reworked or re-examined? I mean, obviously, yes, considering though I'm not a PC player or a PC gamer or anything like that, a lot of the commands were basically used, with a mouse and a keyboard and all. But still, I mean, if Microsoft was able to bring the Age of Empires series to the Xbox Series X and S, I would say there is a possibility we could see something like World of Warcraft make its way onto the Xbox Series X and S. Now, I mean, how they would bring it over, we don't know. My guess is that we'll probably see it, appear on Game Pass. Maybe if you're part of Game Pass Ultimate, you could sign up for, you'll be part of, World of Warcraft and everything like that. Maybe it's a possibility they could do a spinoff and maybe do like an actual offline game set in the Warcraft universe for a single player experience or anything like that. So there are a lot of ways Blizzard can handle this, even with stuff like StarCraft to any of their other IPs as well. So there's definitely potential, and I do think at some point I do believe that they will bring Warcraft to the consoles, though. But even if they announce that they were going to bring it, though, it's probably going to be a little while until everything is organized now that Microsoft owns Blizzard and everything like that. So overall, I would say it's not out of the realm of possibility. I do think that eventually World of Warcraft will probably make its way over to consoles, just like how Microsoft finally brought the Age of Empires series over to consoles as well. We may have to wait a while. I would say that's a possibility, but I definitely do believe most likely World of Warcraft probably will make its way over to the consoles at some point down the road. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we'll get to part 2. And this one has to do with Nintendo's financial report. So we'll take a quick break and we will be right back. Okay, we are back with part 2 of my 2 cent video, and for this one, we're going to be taking a look at Nintendo, particularly their financial report that recently came out and everything like that. And obviously, I mean, despite the Switch being like, let's see, 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, being out basically almost like 6 years and everything like that, continues to do pretty well with Nintendo, despite the fact that I believe Nvidia has pretty much discontinued the Tegra X1 chip and everything like that. But obviously a lot of things definitely went on Nintendo's favor in terms of some of the games, to even, you know, the Mario movie doing very well and basically making over a little bit over $1 billion at the box office and everything like that. But in terms of their financial reports, this is what we've seen so far. In terms of the in terms of basically the consoles and all, as of right now, the Nintendo Switch has basically, in terms of hardware, has sold over 132.46 million units worldwide, with software being at 1,133.23 million units out there, which is very, very impressive. There's no doubt the Switch has been a success so far, though. It has pretty much overtaken all the systems except for the Nintendo DS. While the software side has certainly overtaken the Nintendo DS, it has certainly not overtaken the hardware yet, though. It hasn't overtaken the PS2 or anything like that, but some do believe that is going to happen at some point, though. Some speculate that it will. We'll have to wait and see basically if that does happen, but right now the Switch seems to be very successful in terms for Nintendo. In terms of the games so far, their top selling games, here's what they have so far. At number 1, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, because why not? That game continues to sell. It's pretty much, it's in the same boat as what Skyrim and Grand Theft Auto 5 is basically in, which will be interesting to see once we finally see Grand Theft Auto 6. We know they announced that, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. Anyway, at number 2, we have Animal Crossing New Horizon. Number 3, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Number 4, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Number 5, Super Mario Odyssey. Number 6, Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield. Number 7, Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet is in there, which is somewhat interesting considering some of the issues that game has had in terms of some of the graphical issues and problems on that one. Let's see. Oh, I may have lost count by mistake. My bad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. Number 8, they have Super Mario Party. Number 9, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Right now they have it at basically 19.50 million units sold worldwide, though. It'll be interesting to see that number, if that number climbs over time, if it even overtakes Breath of the Wild. And at number 10, we have New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, though. Obviously, Super Mario Bros. Wonder did not make it on this list, but it will be very interesting to see if that game does when they announce their next fiscal earnings and everything like that. They also seem to report it in terms of basically games, in terms of, you know, sell-in of certain games, though. They have shown that basically Pikmin 4 seems to be doing very well. It's sold so far 2.61 million units sold worldwide. This is, you know, physical copies, so certainly that is good for them. It also did very well in terms of the digital sales as well. So obviously, it's definitely good for Pikmin 4 and everything like that. No doubt about it that at some point a Pikmin 5 will probably happen, though. Yeah, we'll probably wait for, it's probably going to be quite some time and everything for that, but given supposedly Nintendo's happy with how Pikmin 4 is doing, so I wouldn't rule out the possibility of a Pikmin 5. Though, if a Pikmin 5 does happen, most likely that will be on the Switch successor, which prompted, Nintendo talking about, how this was sort of the record-breaking sales and everything like that, basically saying, quote, sales in the first half of the fiscal year were large since the launch of the Nintendo Switch due to an increase in sales of our dedicated video game platform business, as well as a rise in mobile and IP-related income, including revenue revenue associated with Super Mario Brothers movie, coupled with a significant decompression or depreciation, if I'm saying the name correctly, of the yen. So obviously, Nintendo's doing well. The stocks have been up and everything like that. So certainly, they must be pretty pleased with where things are right now. One thing that also came out of this financial report was basically the president responding to the rumors that have been going around about in terms of the Switch 2 or the Switch successor. Now, I'm sure most of you are aware that there were certainly several reports that have come out about this, including one collaborated with Video Game Chronicles, claiming that Nintendo may have shown off the system basically during Gamescom behind closed door, with rumors about pointing that a demo of the Matrix Awakening running on Unreal Engine 5 was shown off, mostly to show off the DLSS. And recently there was reports showing of a patent filed by Nintendo, which basically showed what looked like a Switch device, but with like two screens. This led to some speculation about this being the Switch successor and all. Excuse me. However, Shigeru Furukawa, or the president of Nintendo, recently responded to some of these rumors during basically this whole financial earnings, claiming that they are not accurate though. In an article from basically from Nintendo, Nintendo Life, they've sort of translated this courtesy of Nintendo Everything. This is what they had to say. Quote, in a recent financial call, the content which was written on the Japanese site MAINICHI, Furukawa dug into some of the latest Switch 2 discussion. Speaking to the claim that Nintendo follow-up console was showcased behind closed door at this year's GameCon event, the company president stated, quote, the rumors online that appear to be public information are not accurate, according to a sort of a translation from Nintendo Everything, though. He also took the opportunity to comment on the company's dual-screen patent that sparked rumors of a potential Switch 2 design just a week ago. This is what he had to say. Quote, we applied for a patent knowing the information would be named public. This does not necessarily mean we plan to equip future products with this. Now, you can interpret this comment in many ways you could. Some might view this as they're basically telling the truth or anything like that. And it is possible what he could be saying is true. On the other hand, Nintendo has a history of saying something and also then sort of, kind of going against what they're saying. In the past, many point to how Nintendo had claimed that, no, there were no plans for a redesign for the Nintendo DS. DS did get a redesign, especially with stuff like the DS Lite. They also made a claim about how the 3DS wasn't going to get a redesign. Eventually, we got one from a 3DS XL to the new 3DS, which added, another, joystick-like approach and everything like that. So, you could look at this in many ways, and I kind of think there may be some truth to this and some may not. I think as far as the patent side go, that is a possibility he could be telling the truth. After all, companies do have a history of basically filing patents, and not all of them do see the light of day. So that might be true. The Gamescom, I'm not sure I'm 100% buying his statement though, mostly because the fact that for all we know, it actually could be true. Nintendo's not going to announce anything like that, mostly because they don't want to damage their holidays or anything. But it wouldn't surprise me if they're basically if rumor actually is true, and they're just, they don't want to, their way of saying we're not commenting on this or anything like that. So I think some parts might be true, some parts not though. I mean, honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if Nintendo was showing off the successor of the Switch behind closed doors at Gamescom or anything like that. So ultimately, you kind of have to figure out how you want to read what his statement is basically saying. So overall, obviously Nintendo's doing very well financially though. The Switch is still selling very well. A lot of their software is doing good. Pikmin 4 seems to be doing very well from Nintendo. But as far as their response during, the Switch 2 rumors, during this financial earnings, I think, to me, like I said, there are many ways you could read it though. Some parts I think could make sense, like the patent, but his statement about saying that the whole Gamescom thing, I tend to think that there's more than meets the eye on that one, considering Nintendo has, like I said the same thing about the DS, the 3DS, saying no, there's no redesign, and then eventually we did see a redesign. So I'm not sure I 100% believe claiming that the information isn't accurate. I think there may be some truth to them showing off the Switch successor behind closed doors at Gamescom and all. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to part 3, and this one has to do with comments recently made by Phil Spencer and all. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 3 of my 2 cent video, and for this one, we're going to be taking a look at a recent comment made by the head of the Xbox division, Phil Spencer himself. Now, he has been doing the rounds lately following the acquisition of Activision Blizzard though. We've seen him basically talk to the employees at Blizzard and all, to even doing some interviews here and there. Well, recently he did an interview with the Japanese, I think, publication Famitsu in terms of making some interesting comments about Nintendo fans and Sony fans being now part of what he described as the Xbox community though. In an article from Game Radar though, here's what he had to say. Quote, Xbox head Phil Spencer considers PS5 and Nintendo Switch users part of the overreaching Xbox community. Speaking to Japanese publication Famitsu in a new interview, Spencer was asked about his vision now that Microsoft has successfully acquired Activision Blizzard. The Xbox head started that because the acquisition let Xbox put more games on PS5 and Nintendo Switch platforms, he consequently considers the players on said platforms to be part of the Xbox community. Spencer said he considers the ROG Ally and the Steam Deck, which recently got an interesting update known as the Steam Deck OLED, users to already be part of the Xbox community since they could play Xbox published games like Redfall and Starfield. For example, I'm not sure you want to mention Redfall considering the kind of backlash that game may have gotten and everything like that. But anyway, moving on. As Xbox now has control of Activision Blizzard games like Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 and Overwatch 2, Spencer is applying that same logic to PS5 and Nintendo Switch players though. They also mentioned that supposedly Spencer's news comments are just the latest in a very long line of statements spearheading games like Call of Duty to more platforms instead of making them exclusive to the Xbox Series X and S. Considering the Xbox signed a mammoth 10-year deal to put Call of Duty on Nintendo systems just earlier this year, it's no surprise that Spencer considers the incoming player base to be part of the Xbox community. Now, you could read Phil Spencer's comment in any way you want to read it though. I mean, to me, it seems to be more like he's just referring to mostly Activision Blizzard games, to be exact, which, again, may not be a bad thing depending on what kind of Activision Blizzard games they decide to put out. I mean, like, I wouldn't mind seeing a revival of games like Prototype or True Crimes or Gun, to be exact, so I wouldn't be certainly against that. But I think when you read it, though, I think it's referring to more to those type of games like as interesting as it is, as much as I would like to see this, I'm not holding my breath seeing something like Halo Infinite or Halo Master Chief Collection or Starfield making its way onto the Nintendo Switch or the Switch successor. I mean, don't get me wrong, Microsoft and Nintendo do have for now, a very good relationship. So it may not be out of the realm of possibility, but I'm not 100% sure on that. I think he's mostly referring to, stuff like Call of Duty and like I said, all the Activision Blizzard titles out there, since it seems as though he's going to let them be independent and do what they need to do and everything like that. So I think he's basically referring to those kind of games though. Now, he could surprise us with something here and there, and so we'll have to wait and see, but that's how I'm kind of looking at his statement, at least from what I'm seeing though. So overall, it's an interesting statement Phil Spencer has made and everything like that though, and it will be interesting to see how that plays out eventually, down the road and so forth and all. So I would say very interesting for him to make the claim that PlayStation and Nintendo users are basically part of the Xbox community and all. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to our fourth and final part, and this one has to do with, sadly, Embracer Group, and apparently, 2023 was not a great year for them, and this just adds more to the problem Embracer Group is facing. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with our fourth and final part of our My 2 Cent video, and for this one we're going to be talking about Embracer Group. Now, 2023 had not been a great year for Embracer Group in general, to be exact though. At one point before 2023, we would hear a lot of stories about Embracer Group buying up IPs, to buying up studios and all that stuff, to even buying Crystal Dynamics and Eidos from Square Enix and everything like that. But ever since that supposedly $2 billion deal fell apart, or this with a Saudi-based company though, things have been very tough for Embracer Group, ranging from canceled games to basically closing down certain studios and everything like that. Recently, we've heard about how Voltron was shut down after following the failure of the Saints Row reboot. They were originally going to be brought into Gearbox's fold, but obviously they were shut down and basically let go, and it remains to be seen what this means for the future for the Saints Row series. To reports recently coming out with the possibility that Gearbox might be sold off from Embracer Group after they were recently purchased, to layoffs from other studios like Crystal Dynamics. Well, now it does seem to indicate that another studio may be suffering the same fate from basically being under Embracer Group, and this time is the studio Free Radical Design, which was recently reestablished 2 years ago to try to bring back the Time Splitter series, but now their fate may unfortunately be sealed in a way though. In an article from Video Game Chronicles, it reads that, quote, according to people close to Free Radical Design, the Nottingham, UK-based studio has been part of an evaluation, and employees have now been notified that it could close. As required by UK employment law, PLAIOM, the Embracer division, which runs Free Radical, must consult employees for a minimum of 30 days before making any reductions, including exploring ways of avoiding them. There remains a possibility that the studio could remain open then, should Embracer receive interest from third parties interested in acquiring it. However, VGC's analysis of LinkedIn and social media show that within just the last 24 hours, at least 15 people employed at Free Radical have already published posts saying they're looking for work. That includes a lead game designer, senior artist, and senior technician artist, game designer, and its studio IT manager though. Neither Free Radical, PLAION, nor Embracer respond to requests for comments in time to be included in the story. Embracer's next earnings And next earnings release is due next week. It's not yet clear what the closure would mean for the future of Time Splitter, the classic first-person shooter series. The new Free Radical was reestablished to revive. So obviously, it remains to be seen what is going to happen to Free Radical going forward and everything like that. Obviously, we might hear something next week once Embracer Group releases their fiscal earnings and everything like that. Meanwhile, one of the supposedly top executives has resigned and has announced his own gaming company, though. Apparently, according to PC Gamer, it reads that former Embracer Group Chief Operating Officer Igor Strunkin, if I'm saying the name correctly, apologize, I'm not, announced on LinkedIn today that he has formally resigned as the company's Chief Operating Officer, essentially Embracer's number 2 guy, and that he's now launching an all-new game company of his own. This person's departure was initially announced in June, a month after the last-minute collapse of the groundbreaking strategic partnership worth more than $2 billion. His replacement was named as Matthew Karch, formerly the CEO of Saber Interactive, one of Embracer's division. In his message today, this person confirmed that he formally resigned from Embracer last week. My history with the group spans across 2 4-year stunt from 2011 to 14. The early foundation day, which acquired assets from Joe Wood and THQ and plant the seeds for what we didn't know would become Embracer Group, this person wrote. Then returning in 2019 to a sizzling acquisition hotbed where new entrepreneurs and exciting studios were added quarter by quarter, growing employees 14 times to 16,500 and revenue 8 times to like 4 billion SEK in 4 years has been an amazing experience and adventure. Although the last year has been rough in line with the general market change and industry colonization, I am positive Embracer will come out strong and with a long and bright future ahead of them. Though, in terms of public profile, the person they mentioned isn't Phil Spencer or Randy Pitchford, but his departure from Embracer is noteworthy because of the rough past years he alluded in his message. For about a 3-year run, Embracer Group was an absolute beast of the acquisition front, hovering up every mid-tier developer and publisher that could reach, including some big players like Koch Media, if I'm saying the name correctly, Gearbox, Tripwire Interactive, Crystal Dynamics, IOS Montreal, and Saber Interactive, seemingly overnight, and went from a relatively niche Swedish publisher to a multi-billion-dollar, multi-technical video game monster. But as they point out, basically it talks about what he's doing, and basically now he's basically going to be continuing his strategy of basically doing the same thing he did with Embracer Group, which you could kind of look at as either a good or a bad thing in a way. But in either case, though, excuse me, this has not been a great year for Embracer Group, though. That $2 billion deal, whatever that thing was, really hit them very hard. And it'll be interesting to see what this means going forward at all. Some believe that studios like Crystal Dynamics might be sold off to something like, say, Microsoft following, since they're helping out with the Perfect Dark reboot and everything like that. Again, we don't know if that will happen or not, so it remains to be seen if something like that will happen. But clearly, whatever was going on at Embracer, obviously things did not turn out very well. There's some games like Dead Island 2 apparently did very well from them and everything like that, but clearly this was a very rough year, though. It will be interesting to see how 2024 is going to play out for Embracer Group and everything like that, and if they can get back on track or not. But overall, I would say so far 2023 has not been a great year for Embracer Group, and although nothing's been confirmed at this time, it would not surprise me if they shut down Free Radical and everything like that. It certainly would be disappointing because I think a lot of us would like to see Time Splitter make a comeback, but it would not surprise me if Free Radical is shut down at all. Okay, this concludes this My 2 Cent video for this week. And again, these are my opinion. What are yours? What are your thoughts about Blizzard's response to the possibility of bringing the World of Warcraft to like console and all? Do you think that they will bring World of Warcraft to the consoles eventually? Do you think it would be a good idea to bring World of Warcraft to consoles, or do you think it's better to save that for just, the PC market side of it, though? What do you think about Nintendo's financial reports, though? Do you think that these are good numbers and everything like that? Do you think that the Nintendo Switch will overtake the original Nintendo DS and possibly the PS5? Are you pleased to see that Pikmin has sold, at least according to Nintendo, very well? And what are your thoughts about the comments about the president made about in terms of all these Switch 2 rumors that have been going out there? Do you think they are accurate? Do you think that he's right to downplay these rumors? Or do you think it's more like what we saw with, the revised Nintendo 3DS and Nintendo DS, where they're saying, yeah, this isn't happening, and then eventually we find out it does exactly happen? What are your thoughts about Phil Spencer's comment about the people in, like the Nintendo community and the PS5 community, part of the Xbox community and all? Do you think that's a bit far-fetched for him to say that? Or do you think he might be onto something, especially with, Activision Blizzard games now being owned by Microsoft and all? And what are your thoughts about the situation surrounding Embracer Group, though? Do you think there's going to be more financial trouble ahead, though? Do you think they'll recover from what happened earlier this year? Do you think they'll shut down Free Radical? Or do you think Free Radical might survive any foreclosure from Embracer Group? Do you agree with what I said in this video? Do you disagree? Do you have a difference of opinion? As always, sound off in the comment section below. Let me know what you think. And if you do like this video, I hope you hit the like button. I would appreciate it. And I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you do, make sure you hit the bell icon for notifications of any new videos I put up. And also, feel free to share this video if you want to. And feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You could do it through PayPal Me, Patreon, or Steam Labs. Links will be in the description of this video, assuming you're watching this on YouTube. And I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that'll be soon. Until then, from Southern California, I wish you all a good day, and of course, happy Veterans Day to everyone out there. Bye!